I say, fill this cup up for me with water and get back juice. Again, I ask for water and you return tea. Maybe this is the point at which I should have raised the issue to clarify any misunderstandings more explicitly, but still out of respect for your standing, I keep my patience and repeat my request, only to be told that no one else asks for this much, that I have taken too much time, and if I don't like it, there's the door. Get out! So begins the absurd discussion. Truly, I am not the one being difficult. Here I am ready to cover for each order you have mistaken. If it would avoid supposedly insulting you, save time from being wasted, and you'd agree to run it through just once more. But now that you have ground to an utter halt, I can identify the real reason. You will do anything not to come out at fault. You don't have to tell me about other people. I know how everyone else responds. They would not have shown nearly as much consideration, but called you incompetent up front. Never mind how such reactions could hardly be considered humane, rather take them as an indication of the extent of their pain. What makes matters even worse is that it is not only one isolated instance, but failure seems to be cropping up at most places. The copy shop market, translators, university, civil offices, banks, photographers, contractors, even work hospitals and home, it not sufficing to visit a venue 3 times before they could do so much as the least of what you want. Nor is it only in my experience, but also that of other people, with enough even citing examples of medical malpractice when their lives have been on the line, to alarm of a seriously threatening danger. Some have tried to put the blame on carelessness, which could be the cause some of the time, but there is also evidence of spitefulness, as when they slap a faulty offer on the table and challenge you to pay for it, in the sense of, that's how much you get for the price, because there's enough boasting going around to our faces and over social media about how others are better and you are not, that everyone yearns to become spectacularly successful and privileged. Only it is going about it their own way, taking on more work than could be handled, and instead of hiring additional help, resorting to forcing the requirements faster, that is no wonder the quality is deteriorated below acceptable levels. And when you go to make a complaint, they brush it aside with an it'll pass. Because they have also been taken advantage of, and now it is their turn to try it. Resentful from being abused, miserable to be doing the abuse. If you are tired of dealing with my case, believe me, I have spent much more time on it than you. Practically learned half your trade by now, fixing all your blunders that I could by myself, and I know that is my responsibility, but you are the provider of the service, hold the accreditation resources and seal. Unfortunately, there is little to no other competition to turn to for help, or otherwise you would have been driven out of business a long time ago. Look, you can do as you like at your own tinkering, but when you are working with people, why should I have to explain this? You have to fulfill the customer's wishes. Only then might you ever expect advancement. I would have given up by this point, but alas, more depends on this for me than you could guess. Now either put on the finishing touches, or what else could be said but curses? Yet why should I have to suffer, forgiving those who would not forgive me when my rights are guaranteed? There are other methods of eliciting the correct outcome. How would you feel about an inspection or a lawsuit? See, there was a way to get it done after all, wasn't there? Just so you know, I get no pleasure from pressuring others. At first you reminded me of my own mother and father, so I took pity on you. But my mother would never throw me away in sacrifice. Come to think of it, isn't this what you always wanted? Criticizing how everyone is stealing, even while you are not exactly exempt, for someone else to come in from the outside and sort this whole mess out. Well, when you cannot manage yourselves, I could do it for you. Take over the rule of this joint. I can see how power will be tempting, but also corruptive. If everyone else were doing it, that is also precisely how they become unbearable, and I, for one, have no wish to participate. I am sorry, ma'am and sir, at least for my own involvement. I know that you are older. It's not worth ruining our relations over some less important pettiness. No matter how demanding it might be, I will have to find another solution, the advantage being that a proper one should also address other outstanding obstacles which admittedly have more to do with ourselves than others. At any rate, there is a better and a worse way. Now I must be going, but I hope to see you also along.